as you said, and I've been saying through this podcast with regard to like Heather's accomplishments and then do you know who someone is, there aren't those personalities in women's sport in the same way. Where there are with Venus and Serena Williams, they would have been on that list of the top 100 paid people when they were competing, right? So you do see the direct correlation between the personality and the rewards, the success, like the awareness. Now, already we're seeing a woman getting Sports Personality of the Year last year. We're seeing Jill Scott now on A League of Their Own, hosting things. And
we're seeing Fish hosting Good Morning.
We're seeing Fish being invited on Anthony Ogogo's podcast.
Here we are.
Like, these are massive strides forward.
So that's how we do it. We make stars of the individuals.
Yeah, because people love people.
But you've got to be visible. We have got to be visible. Like, it comes back to that invisibility, that visibility piece where people, you can be, you can be what you can't see, because then you have to become it, right? So now we're becoming it, and by increasing the awareness, increasing visibility, people will know, and then people have role models to look up to, like Katie just said.
But I thought you were going to say I was the role model. You should have said like Katie. Stop.
Katie, it's not about you today, yeah? It's not about you.
I'm just the one bringing the gags.
Do you need to sneeze?
Did you know about his torso? You didn't bring it up.
Shit torso now, look at it.
That's the second time in 2 days I've been fat shamed.
Do you think guys and girls should be paid equally?
I don't think you do. So it's a funny one for me, and
funny.
like I've told Katie, I've had arguments with blokes in the pub. You know this, Katie, about I'm that guy in the pub when I'm not even.
He's so argumentative. They go in the pub and they leave again.
But I know what you stand for, and I know you're all for women.
Do I think men?
But yes or no?
In
2024,
it's not a yes or no answer. Depends. In some things like tennis, yes, 100%. If Andy Murray has not got a problem with women getting paid the same as him, then why does anybody else? And that's the weird thing for me. So I've had arguments in the pub.
Boxing. Let's go boxing.
And I've had this exact. I'm going to sound really hypocritical.
I know.
I had to go with Chelsea. Chelsea.
Paxman.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Question's not going.
Well, it depends.
Because
boxing isn't the same. Because it's not the same. Oh, Katie Taylor, big star, huge star in Ireland, huge star in the UK. She gets paid a lot of money. I presume. I don't know.
Well, she's not in the top 100, is she?
Well. No, that's a strange thing to say. But that's not right. But Coco Gauff was the highest paid female, by the way, female tennis player. Okay. No, she gets paid a lot of money for boxing. Right, for boxing. Should she get paid much as Tyson Fury? No.
Why?
Because Fury generates more money. And
how do you generate more money?
I mean,
go on. No, you must know. No, we know the answer.
People watching.
Right, but how do you create people watching?
By becoming a star and
by the visibility piece.
But also,
I do also think
all day in the courtroom.
I also think that boxing is a really difficult example.
Is a difficult
because
example.
Of all the sports. I think there are a lot of people who don't want to watch women getting beaten up, who would happily watch men getting beaten up.
But in terms of should women and guys be paid equal, I just feel like it should be open to actually opportunity. Because if you open up opportunity, you open up visibility.
I agree. Going back to the boxing one as well, and I'll say this, it's harder for men. Why is it harder for men? There are so many more male boxers than female boxers.
You're also lucky that there's more male boxers. Like, women want that opportunity to be up against the best. People want more involvement.
But there's not. For example, I want boxing Olympic Games, in the World Championships, as a middleweight. There's 128 boxers in my weight category all around the world. Women, maybe 16. So for me to get to the medal fights, I've got to fight 4 times to get to the medal fights. Woman, she can get a bye and get a bronze medal. There's just not as many of them, so it's not as competitive.
But then she's also holding down. There's a lot for a female to hold down. Like, there's so much more on a female's shoulders in terms of like a family, a family life, like life after. In terms of life after sport, when you've not got the same money, there's so much more expectation of a female. I don't think you can't do straight. Katie, you gonna say something? You can't just go straight guy and girl. They should be paid exactly the same. But the opportunity should be there. You have to do more. Because if you can do more, then we're flying.
I think there's a really interesting thing here that you guys probably agree on, right? It came up last week when we were with Pete Reed, another one of the roster, who obviously was sitting there with his 3 Olympic gold medals. and that was participation medals. And Pete said he feels really strongly, and he didn't always win everything, about the fact that you shouldn't just get a medal for showing up. Like, otherwise, what is the value of a medal? And so I think it kind of comes back to the point I was trying to establish before, in that opportunities should be equal. Everyone should have the same spotlight, the same platform, the same springboard in the first place. And then the audience will decide. And if the audience choose to watch one thing rather than another thing, and maybe in 9 out of 10 sports they decide the men's is more entertaining, and maybe in 1 out of 10 they decide the women's is more entertaining, maybe the women can get paid more than the men, right? Like, but until we're it's at not that about stage, just saying because you show up you should all get the same. It has to all be about the equal opportunity, and then meritocratic after you've had an equal opportunity, right?
But the thing is, we're not even at that stage. And that's the frustrating thing sitting on this side, is that we're not even at the stage where opportunities are equal. And that's the frustrating, because we can't really, it's wrong to really compare that to that, if I'm honest, because the platforms, the foundation isn't the same. And
it's a great talking point. It's a great discussion. Point, and it's something, it's one of those ones where, like, I do believe women should be paid equally as men in the workplace. 100%. I think
gender pay gap increased last year.
Did it really? Did it really? And I don't understand that. Although if I was a business owner, and I'm being really honest here, if I was a business owner, I'd be more inclined to hire a man than a woman, because women may go and have a child and be off for a year.
That's workplace discrimination.
And I feel like picking up that plant and throwing it at your face.
This is I'm trying to talk.
No, I know, but I'm just talking passionately.
And that's the thing, right? That's what I'm trying to understand. I want your response.
No, I'm going.
But most people, right? Like most people, and do you understand why they're going to train somebody up?
Understand.
And then they're gonna,
no, okay. I actually wait.
So please teach me. Please.
Yeah, you need to teach him, because I need to drink.
I applaud for actually saying that, because a lot of people are thinking it.
I don't know if it's stupidity or.
But a lot of people are thinking it and not prepared to say it. And if people won't say things, then you can't have a dialogue and you can't learn.
I know,
right?
Katie, but I'm having to hold it together here.
You're all right. So first of all, like, massive oversight, because I went into the workplace with the attitude that everyone would be thinking like you. So I needed to work so much harder and so much faster at the start of my career that I would be minimum 2 years ahead of all the boys by the time I was at a point in my life where I might need to take maternity leave. And then my dad kind of turned around and went, well, if you had a child, you'd be like that judge in France that took about 12 hours off anyway. So everyone was definitely...
That is so true. You'd be like, no, Dad, I'm going to break the record. I'll do it in 10.
Everyone was definitely getting their value for money out of me, right? But obviously, I understand what you're saying. But have you ever thought that usually, less so nowadays, because families are non-nuclear, right? And they're all kinds of blended forms. But usually on the other side of each woman having a baby is a man getting a cushy number of not having to have the baby, right? So in essence, all you're doing by subsidizing the woman by paying her maternity leave is also subsidizing the man. Because if the woman wasn't taking the leave, the man would have to. The baby isn't going to look after itself.
The laws change now anyway. Guys can take...
You know, you have paternity leave as well. But what I'm saying is, just because the woman is physically the one pregnant, it's the couple, if there is a couple, that are being subsidised by the maternity leave, not the woman.
Isn't the man still working though?
Yeah, but he's only able to work because the woman doesn't have to work.
But what I'm saying is...
So the man is basically paying in through working to the women being able to have the time off to have his babies.
I get that, but as a CEO of a company...
Start dropping, Kate. Keep going. Kate, keep going. Keep going.
As a CEO of a company, if I can hire... And I genuinely want to learn, because you told me something the other day, which I'll come on to in a minute. A man and a male and a female, exact grades from Oxford or whatever. I go, which one am I going to pick? Most men in position, as we know, most CEOs are men, rightly or wrongly, will go, well... They may think, well, she might have to have a year off or a couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 quid. That's 3 years where, like, she's not going to be work. I'll get somebody else in. I'll go for the dude. He'll be here the whole time. you'll have a fortnight off and come back.
Which is why, because most men aren't brave enough to say what you're saying out loud as your opinion, which is why more and more companies are getting CVs without names on them, so that people can't choose based on gender or race.
So do you know what I was going to say, actually, and this isn't my opinion, I'll just devil's advocate, understanding the situation, understanding...
Yeah.
So,
but also companies are led better by diverse leadership teams. So you're less likely to get good performance results if you just have men, if you just have white people, even if you just had a minority running it, right? If everyone were disabled, they would probably be putting forward one viewpoint. You need diverse input, experience, skills, ways of thinking. And in order to achieve that, you need men and women.
You need us, baby.
No, I'm on the right side.
Us.
It's go back to the thing a minute ago, and so if you have a Nigerian sounding surname, you're 80% less likely to get a job as your white sounding counterpart.
I'm not surprised.
80%, yeah. And a recent study done, I think Oxford or Cambridge, one of the done. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Crazy, unbelievable. Still now in this day and age. But no, yeah, right. One thing I want to talk about, the finish on this one. We were texting recently, the three of us, about, and I was asking questions because again I wanted to learn, and if you don't share viewpoints, you don't grow. And I said, I think it's football we're talking about, men and women football, and I said, but women's football it's just not as aesthetically pleasing to the eye to watch when you've got Kevin De Bruyne and all these players scoring good goals, and women. And then you said to me something like, well, if women had more investment from a young age, they'd be better. The quality would be better. The more people would want to watch it. And I was like, that makes so much sense.
So this is the virtuous circle versus the vicious circle. So Heather mentioned the vicious circle. If you don't invest, people will have to go out to work, have second jobs. They won't be able to have the medical support, the rehab, the mental support. They won't be able to train as hard. They won't be able to play as well if they're not playing as well, and they don't have the same level of equipment. It won't be as interesting a spectacle. So as many people won't want to watch it. Broadcasters won't want to show it on TV. Sponsors won't want to invest. F&B and merchandise, whatever, won't get involved. And so they still don't have the money and they're stuck in their vicious circle. The virtuous circle, which is what you're saying, is if someone invests, okay, suddenly they don't have to have a second job. They have got the best equipment. They can look after their bodies and their minds and perform at the highest level. Suddenly the spectacle is better. We don't know how good because we haven't had the investment yet to know, but it's better. Then more people want to watch it, more people want to broadcast it, more people want to invest in it. You have the merch, you have the F&B, you're in the virtuous circle, right? That was what I was saying about the equal opportunities of, until we create the virtuous circle for the women's sport, we can't know what the gap is or if there's a gap between how entertaining the spectacle is.